Hello Galactic family. Greetings, dear ones, I am Korean of Magnetic Service. Often during these channels, we feel appropriate times to bring you an inch-depth information. This is in order to bring them things that human beings need to know. Today is a little different. The human condition is the theme, as well as you think you are now going on this planet evolving. Dear, I want to create something in this room. I want to create harmony and coherence of thought. I want to talk to you personally now about what they are facing. For some, what is happening is slow, and for some, it's fast. Each of you is totally unique in its day. However, all of you are facing change. Sometimes the change has occurred in your life, and for some, it is still coming. This change on the planet, that was predicted by the ancients, it is here. The whole reason for Korean to be here, is this change. I told them before many plumbers began around 1989, preparing them for what was to come and change where you are. We tell you that it's easy to get caught up in it, though not to understand. The reason is because you are in a box. It is to meet the box, where you is all they see. Now we are asking for something more. Old souls, you are required to equilibrate, so that those around you have the opportunity to be changed at your balance. They can change more gracefully because the wisdom that is yours, create a model they can emulate. There is no reason to fear the upcoming changes. We told you earlier that nothing will escape this change. The things you hold most precious as can be changed. They may change. There may be changes in your biology, adjustments and recalibrations in your relationships, in business, in your profession, and literally in everything that you like or not. We told some of you before, that this new energy your emotions may have higher highs and lower than normal. There would therefore be a tendency for some to help, because it could look very different. Not only that, but once you can say, what's wrong with me? This is the intensity of a change that involves all. Be patient with this, since you are really rebalancing more than ever. Change is not always bad. Many changes pass for grace, where before there was none. Sometimes, is a solution where there was none before, so I ask you, why is that when change begins to occur, you go to the worst common denominator, which is the fear? They all had good things happening unexpectedly. This comes with life. Why do you expect the worst during this change? The answer is that this is great. This begins to change your consciousness, makes them ask questions that have never been done before. This change allows them to wake up to new truths. Many of you are starting to become more compassionate. I am with family. If I could imagine anything for you, it would be a smile on his face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the fact that you have become accustomed. Why is that when change begins to occur, you go to the worst common denominator, which is the fear? They all had good things happening unexpectedly. This comes with life. Why do you expect the worst during this change? The answer is that this is great. This begins to change your consciousness, makes them ask questions that have never been done before. This change allows them to wake up to new truths. Many of you are starting to become more compassionate. I am with family. If I could imagine anything for you, it would be a smile on his face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the fact that you have become accustomed. Why is that when change begins to occur, you go to the worst common denominator, which is the fear? They all had good things happening unexpectedly. This comes with life. Why do you expect the worst during this change? The answer is that this is great. This begins to change your consciousness, makes them ask questions that have never been done before. This change allows them to wake up to new truths. Many of you are starting to become more compassionate. I am with family. If I could imagine anything for you, it would be a smile on his face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the fact that you have become accustomed. Why do you expect the worst during this change? The answer is that this is great. This begins to change your consciousness, makes them ask questions that have never been done before. This change allows them to wake up to new truths. Many of you are starting to become more compassionate. I am with family. If I could imagine anything for you, it would be a smile on his face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the fact that you have become accustomed. Why do you expect the worst during this change? The answer is that this is great. This begins to change your consciousness, makes them ask questions that have never been done before. This change allows them to wake up to new truths. Many of you are starting to become more compassionate. I am with family. If I could imagine anything for you, it would be a smile on his face, joy in your heart, and an understanding that goes beyond the fact that you have become accustomed. Change. If you take the word change, there are 6 letters change. Let this design the polarity. We will make the first 3 letters challenging and the last 3 positive. This is how the duality C may represent a consistency of equality. Let's say that you are consistent with life, because it does not change. It is always the same. So there is a consistency that makes them want to stay in it. It's good because you have discovered. It's good because you think you know what's next and are happier in these situations. Coherent belief. Then something changes. Perhaps you have a circle of friends was always the same, and suddenly, they bring someone new. Now the circle is different. In fact, this disrupts the way was the circle, to the point where you want to leave it. The consistency that you had in the group were changed. This is a metaphor for this planet at this time. The coherence of everything that used to be is beginning to change, and often you do not like any of this. It's like a new person in the group that changed the attitude, awareness and joy of a circle that you thought you knew. What do you do with it? Human nature tells you to give up. You've had enough. Oh, you struggle to keep the same circle. This is not an old soul, dear. This is what makes the 8-year-old boy on the playground, because that's all he has. The age is that they are having a really hard time with what I call the big lie. The big lie is this: all that will happen in the future can be judged by what happened in the past. You simply invoke that existed in order to know what will be. So no matter what happens in change, you see it as a problem, based on historical change. Therefore, change is always negative. Nothing good can come of this change, you say, because when I examine the past, the change never brought good things. And so, the big lie is that nothing will be created will be different from what you know now or seen. We will tell you it again so you will understand. The future may be full of things that you have never seen. It can be benevolent in ways they cannot imagine. Suddenly, you get sick and things will happen that have never happened before. What is the first reaction? Oh, I've always had a healthy coherence. Why this change? What is wrong with me? What did I do wrong? And the big lie? Every time there is a change like this is bad news. You say, just look at what happened in the past, or what happened to Joe. This cannot be good. The big lie. Nothing is new. Old souls, there is a tendency to judge everything that happened before. The disease? Most of the time, you need to recalibrate your cells so that they are able to accept what is to come. The anxiety about all this. Anxiety will reduce the life of a human being. When you observe the polarity of the change, there are those who understand, and there are those who do not. For some, the change itself is an enemy and is treated as an enemy because it disturbs what existed, which was understood and it worked. Overcoming anxiety is what Old Soul has the ability to do. This comes with the wisdom to know what is happening and relaxing with the process. Now, we will get the 3 positive lyrics and polarity change. N. Nothing is as it seems. If you followed the plumbing, Korean may have seen the story of Michael Thomas and the 7 angels, The Journey Home. In this story, the angels said to him, Michael, not everything is as it seems. Do not decide on what you think you know. The whole story is about a man who had a surprise in life. Something that never happened before, happened to him. Even when he thought he had discovered, it was totally different. It is a story on its polarity, the darkness and the light in your consciousness. The upcoming changes on this planet have the same story. Old souls, while they are there, are willing to admit they do not know everything. The change at hand is not a story repeated. These things with you and also the planetary will change in ways that have never happened before. There will be integrity and compassion that never happened before. Agitation may be what you see for some time, but things are not always as they seem. The Old Soul is beginning to clearly see this issue and to reshape the change. Many of you are likely to decide before something happens about what will happen. Not the Old Soul, not balanced. I want you to come into your mind where the problems that bother them. No matter what annoys them now, whether it is personal or planetary. I want to see a clean slate, with nothing in it, nothing. It is blank because the effects of the changes are not written yet. The effects on their problems are waiting for the benevolent changes. There are things that can change that is beyond what you expect. I'll tell you, do you think you saw changes lately that have been difficult, or that you did not expect? Just wait. There are other things that will disrupt normal on this planet and around. They are okay with this? You have to be. We told this Old Soul and assist it is a television program. So, it will go to bed after the show and sleep like a baby. This peace is because they know they are part of the change and that change is part of the recalibration of the planet. They are part of the world. It is wonderful as an Old Soul creates change, reacts to change and is part of the change. G is the greatest gift. Can you imagine a time when, whatever what are concerned now, eventually becomes the greatest gift of your life? You may say, something happened that led me to do something that had never done before, which put me in a place that I never thought existed. I am at peace, and I am with people I love, instead of having drama with others who are in turmoil. This is the beauty and the wisdom of an Old Soul. Being able to see this one while in turmoil is an attribute of wisdom. You have become prior knowledge of their own conscience. You are able to see a benevolent result and where it will, before it gets there. This relaxes the dear, things cannot go where you think you can, yet they think they will do well. You accept something better? Accept another surprise beyond that they considered? An Old Soul accept because she will understand that she is part of the biggest change in humanity. This change is the one about which the sociologists will speak in the future. They will talk about a time when the very human nature began to evolve beyond anything it has been in history. We spoke of it often. Those who listen to me, often, are tired of hearing about it. Let me tell you that should hear it countless times. Dear, never tire of hearing good news. The more you hear, the more they will recognize it, and most will live, most will believe it. I represent the creative source now, and you are hearing the truth. You will go through this change. You can relax with the truth. You will get over it. It's a beautiful message. The E could represent many things. Today, let him represent the beautiful energy. The energy of completion, compassion, balance, understanding, and a good sleep at night. Do you see how you sleep well when all is well in your life? You may find that all is not well in your life, and I'll tell you this is polarity. You decide what is wrong rather than what is balanced and beautiful. Family, you are the biggest change that has happened when it comes to humanity. You are beginning to follow in the direction that will eventually create a wonderful setting on a planet that never want war. In the process, you will have to work some things. It may be necessary for a generation or more to happen. The classic example of this is history, and we give again. They are the Israelites who came out of slavery. Slavery was the oldest and darkest energy you can imagine, that the enslaved and their children. She shortened their lives and the lives of their children, and made horrible their lives for a very long time. When it was liberation from slavery, you thought this would be the most joyful thing possible, but instead, there were complaints and division. So they marched in a circle in the desert for 40 years. And again, I tell you why you cannot catch those who had the consciousness of slavery and lead them to a glorious promised land. This will not work. A whole generation had to expire and be renewed. Even those who led the failed to go, not really. This is how the past is powerful for your future. Do you understand this? You cannot have an old energy of consciousness and simply restructure it from night to day. I'm giving them the ABC of this change. This is what I do, that's why I came, and this is why I will continue to give you this good news in bits and pieces, so that they can understand it now. This means you will not have to ignore and return to using this information. You can use this teaching while they are alive and here as an old soul. In fact, the planet needs you to do this work now. Old souls expect to live longer than they expect to live. Pay attention to your language. Because of habit, you verbalize your own end. Pay attention to the words that come out of your mouth, because they really set a standard of reality of who you are. Think to yourself, there is a great machine listening to every word, and this machine will deliver what I'm asking. Stop and recompose what you say to others. Think about what they are saying and recompose the words on things benevolent, compassionate, do you expect for themselves. Affirmations are the key, and said this before. Make their own statements and say aloud. Let your body to hear who you are, as if making an order in a restaurant. When? When will this happen? Not soon. There are learning and recalibration here. This does not make sense? You just get to this energy. There will be learning, and there will be some who will die and come back and continue, but as I said before, when you return, will be aware of what happened. You will not make the mistakes they made before, and remain who you are. There will be a sense emitted from your Akash, and you will remember why you're here. It could be some time before they begin to see these things manifesting in your news, however, many of you are now starting to see them in their personal lives. You start small and become great. It's a great message of what is actually happening on the planet. Finally, I say this: do not misunderstand. You do not have to be of a certain belief to make it happen. The main religions in the world teach compassion. Pay attention to this, because they will start to turn, and also what they will do is they will begin to see differently. Pay attention to this. No forgiveness, watch this. There will be a perception that they are all on the same path, with the same creator. Pay attention to this. The process will be intrinsic. This is who you are, old souls. Let the change begin. And so it is. Korean, there will be a perception that they are all on the same path, with the same creator. Pay attention to this. The process will be intrinsic. This is who you are, old souls. Let the change begin. And so it is. Korean, there will be a perception that they are all on the same path, with the same creator. Pay attention to this. The process will be intrinsic. This is who you are, old souls. Let the change begin. And so it is. Korean,